Hello, I am the gaming superhero, and we finally made it, the finale of Spider Month and Black History Month Eve. We're talking about everybody's favorite, second favorite, third favorite, fuck it, people's generally liked Spider-Person, Miles Morales. I'd be surprised how far down the list he is, but given all the stupid bullshit they've been trying to get people's attention with, like giving him a lightning sword after CW Flash showed everyone how stupid that shit is, making him a vampire despite the fact they tried that shit with Jubilee in the 2000s and it did nothing for her popularity. And their latest publicity stunt, Miles is now a totem of an African spider god, I think, because Black Panther and Moon Knight can't have shit in this house. But enough of Miles' current woes, let's see where he started. He first appeared in Ultimate Fallout number 4, where he just kinda shows up and fights the kangaroo in a suit similar to Peter's, which everyone points out as in bad taste, and that's obviously, that's it. Obviously more is explained in the Ultimate Spider-Man book at the time, but still, a weird place to introduce him, and that's all it does is show his face. You get no explanation for how he got to this point, or even what his name is. So, that's his introduction to the world. Very underwhelming. So, on to the kit, I guess. I've decided to make him a support to differentiate him from Peter, which is a little tricky, especially since I've given him the same Spider Sense passive and web slinging ability. But to differentiate them more, he has 2 charges instead of 3. This was inspired by Venom having the same web slinging ability with the amount of charges being the whole variable change. So for Miles, I went down the middle. So he has 2 instead of Venom's 1 or Peter's 3. He can also double jump and wall climb, of course. His primary fire is his web shooters that function more like a proper weapon than Peter's spider tracers, where they have a reload, and I've added a slowing effect while Miles is shooting people with his webs. They move slower for a short duration, pretty much just 1 second without direct fire. I've also given Miles a specialized melee that does damage over time, so he does base melee damage, and then there's a damage tick over time afterward, which I think means he has the most base damage for like a melee ability, but I've obviously not done the math on that. Ability 1, Venom Strike. Web towards an ally or enemy to give them a boon or debuff. Allies get bonus health and increased damage output. Enemies take damage and get slowed. This gives him options, and note you can only affect 1 person per use, and it is for a limited time, the effects or defects. The idea was to make him an off-healer, because obviously most people see him as a duelist, but then he would just be too close to Peter, and having really popular characters in the support category really helps with its popularity. Although, for Miles Morales specifically, I think the more role that needs more is probably Vanguard, because there are still plenty of people playing support, and like the support characters are fun. It's probably the Vanguard that need the most help with popular characters. Ability 2 is Spider Cloak. Turn invisible, and while invisible, Miles heals over time. You can stay invisible as long as you like, as long as you don't shoot, melee, or use offensive abilities. You can still web swing and double jump without turning visible. Simple, straightforward, moving on. Ability 3, Venom Blast. Throw an electric projectile that can heal allies and give them increased speed. The projectile can also travel through multiple allies. Enemies take damage and deal less damage. The projectile does not travel through enemies, you can only hit 1 enemy. But you can hit multiple allies and then hit 1 enemy to get full value. Again, this is to allow for deciding to be more offensive or defensive. His ultimate is Power Release. Release an explosion of electricity that empowers allies and debuffs enemies in the radius. Essentially just all the buffs from his other abilities, so allies get bonus health, increased damage output, and speed, and enemies just suffer a stun similar to Doctor Strange ult, in that they are unable to move or do anything, but no extra soul hitbox. The team up is with Spider-Man and Penny. Obviously, who else would it be with? Called Venom Charge. Electric charges from Miles gives these two a bonus effect of faster fire rate, so Spider-Man punches faster and Penny shoots faster, incentivizing you to use these abilities on your fellow spider people. Because obviously these team up only activates when Miles uses one of his abilities on them. So it's not like standard team ups where just Penny and Peter can just choose when to start it. They need to be under the effects of the other Miles abilities. Because I prefer team ups that require actual teaming up and not just one character gets an extra ability regardless of what the other player is doing. But that's just me. And that does it. The last character of Spider-Month. It's finally over. And I'm not going to lie, I am glad to be done and move on to a greater variety of characters. Not to say I hated making these characters, it became a bit of a case where translating the character was very straightforward, with nothing real crazy or difficult to come up with. Although Mysterio and Nico are definitely exceptions, and they were very fun. And I was able to add some unique features to Goblin and Miles to make them feel more worth adding to the game beyond just, adding the characters. There's also like a gameplay benefit to adding them. But still, I'm excited to explore the wider Marvel universe. And like, this Spider-Month was like, to tie into the new Spider-Man show. But the Spider-Man show releases so late that this is the last video for Spider-Month, and it still hasn't come out yet, and so I have nothing to say about it. Like, that is so crazy to me. I mean, I guess it should have just been known from the start. I mean, it's not like they just recently revealed when it was releasing, but still, I don't know. I thought, like, at least a few episodes would have released, and so this last one, I could give my thoughts on it, but no. So, whatever. Spider-Month is technically a tie-in to the show that I have not seen in any of these videos. Go figure. But anyway, continuing. Miles specifically was an interesting challenge to make him different. I have no idea how they would make Spider-Gwen different, because they've said that she would be her own character if she came to the game. But at least Miles has a different power set, or whatever, I guess. Remember to let me know who you want to see me make in the future. Would you have done something different for Miles? Probably. I'm assuming a lot of you are upset that he wasn't a duelist. And you're welcome for not giving him that dumbass lightning sword. What is he even doing with it? What's he doing with it? He's Spider-Man. He's not gonna stab anyone.